The following podcast is rated D for dumb. You're listening to Dumbing It Down with Dave, the fastest podcast on earth. Listen to Dave commute to and from work on the New York State Thruway in his 2008 Kia Rio LX. He talks about pragmatism, truth, happiness, and the search for it all. Join Dave as he asks and tells you how life ought to be. And now, here's Dave.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Dumbing It Down with Dave, episode 90. Are you ready to dumb it down? All right, that's fantastic. That's what I like to hear. I like to hear that you respond well to my commands, to my requests, to my calls to action. Like when I say, hey, why don't you tweet me at Dumb with Dave? And you tweet me at Dumb with Dave. Or if I ask you to leave polite comments, or comment politely. So you do that on the Spreaker app, or maybe in the iTunes app. See, I'm just going to hit you with it right away, right from the top. We're going to get right to the begging. And what else do I ask you to do? Yeah, just, hey, don't be so passive. I see the numbers. People are listening. I'm getting a lot of plays, now that I've been back podcasting. There's definitely some numbers that say that people are listening. But, so, take some time and interact, and say hello. It'd be great to hear from you. I've been surprised by several people along the way in the last couple of weeks that have said hello and said they listen and all that good stuff. All right, so episode 90, another CODA-cast. It's a CODA-cast in a CarCast and a Dumbcast in a podcast. So really, 4 shows in one. You can't beat that. There's really no other podcast out in the world. I don't care where you find it, where you look for it, where you get it. There's no other podcast in the world that's doing 4 different shows in one. That's amazing. So, and please tell your friends, listen, this guy does 4 different shows at the same time. It's like that juggler that juggles 3 balls, right? You're like, wow, look at him. He juggles 3 balls. Wow, look, he juggles 3 bowling pins. Wow, he looks, for me, it's like, wow, he juggles a bowling pin, a ball, and an axe, And then all of a sudden he throws in, some sort of machine gun. So he's juggling a machine gun and a bowling pin and a ball and an axe. It's like, wow, that's some act. That's basically what I'm doing in the world of podcasting. That's what it seems like to me. I think I'm doing quite well juggling 4 different items of all different shapes and sizes and purposes, and some of them deadly, some potentially fatal weapons. And that's what I do. I do a potentially fatal show. Hello, dum-dums. This is Dave Canyon. Welcome to Dumbing It Down with Dave. It's the fastest podcast on earth. Not right now because I'm sitting in a parking spot at the downtown Providence Marriott, but it's also a show that's subtitled Dumbing It Down with Dave, Pragmatism, Truth, Happiness, and the Search for It All. So, that's all the stuff that there is. And let me give you, where are we? In this thing. Episode 90, I wanted to talk a little bit about my personal experience here. Day 2 for me. Day 2 here at CODA-Haven 2018. Yesterday was, episode 1 of the CODA-casts here, and this will be episode 2. And so let me get you a little bit more in depth as to what's been going on here. Yesterday, I kind of faddled around. I did my typical getting lost in the lights type of thing, where I go on tangents and I don't make points. And I listened to it. I'm like, oh, that wasn't a great show, but I published it anyway. There was some valid reasons for publishing it. There was some substantive podcasting going on. Not great, but I give myself a good F. All right. Anyway, a good F. Fair. So today was day 2. So today was my first day. Today was the first of the real breakouts. Was it? When did I do the newcomer session? Oh, yeah, yesterday was the newcomer session. I did the panel. It was a lot of fun. I said some things that people found humorous. That was really good. It was a nice icebreaker. I don't know what would have happened if I didn't go serious. If I didn't go humorous and I went serious, it could have gotten real dark and serious in the room, and I didn't want to do that. So I went with humor, which is often, not all the time, but has often worked for me. So I went with humor, and I spoke to the people who were here for the first time. I think I set a very good tone. I don't want to take credit. There were 4 other people on the panel with me. They all did a great job, plus the founder of the organization, of the CODA organization. So, I did that, and I was happy to do that. I definitely signed up to volunteer for the newcomer panel, and I definitely wanted to do it. I wanted to do it ever since last year. So, by the way, so for those of you who are not coders, I appreciate you listening, but don't feel bad if you go, I don't know what he's talking about, and I don't want to listen to this. This is not really my cup of tea. I'll come back when he does car casts in dumb casts in podcasts. I don't want to hear him talk about a CODA cast. That's not really for me. But so then that's fine. I harbor no ill will. It's perfectly fair and honest of you to not want to listen to anything that has to do with the CODA cast, because I'm going to be talking about things that you don't get. For those of you who, and me, I always try to make it, very generic. And for those of you who are coders, stick around, because I'm going to try to get a little bit more in depth here at episode 90 than I did with episode 89. So I did this newcomer panel. So for those of you around the world who are coders and are listening, they start you off with a newcomer panel, and there are 96 new people out of 350 this year. So for those of you, this is kind of pertinent information, because there's no way of getting this without listening to a CODA cast. So I think 13 countries were represented, are represented. I think I saw something like 39 states out of 50. I think that's what I saw. 39 out of 50, 13 countries, and probably about 5 continents were represented here. And last year, if you remember, at CODA Can, we had 300. This year, we're maxed out at 350. And I think they turned people away. All right, so there's that. There's some statistics there for you, some numbers to chew on. Try to chew to yourself, so I don't have to hear your lip smacking and your saliva sloshing around. I always find that particularly gross. And then again, my son says I do that, so he finds me particularly gross. Look at me saying the word particularly. It is June 30th, by the way. June 30th right now as I record this. It's 2:58 in the morning. 2:58 in the morning as I sit here in a parking spot at the downtown Marriott. Yesterday at this time, I think I was already showered and asleep. So this is not really healthy living when you're on vacation. But I'm at CODA, so it's okay. I'm okay. It's interesting that I'm not even trying to, but I'm averaging the same amount of sleep I got last year. I'm not even trying to stay awake, but I'll tell you what happened, and I'll tell you why I wasn't in bed 2 hours ago. If I remember, I'll get to it. I'm not going to mention it now because I want to go through the course of events. I did the newcomer panel. After I did the newcomer panel, I got a little buddy training from the woman who trains the people to be buddies. And what you do is I sign up, I volunteer to be a buddy. So that was the second thing I volunteered for. And what happens is when the newcomer panels are over, and then we broke out into, we went into these breakout groups, groups of 20 or whatever it was. There were 4 groups. And it was great. We did this, we sat in a circle and we talked. And we shared who we are, where we're from, and just different things. It's like summer camp in a way, and you don't know anybody. So the first couple of days are like the first couple of days of summer camp. I never went to sleepaway camp, but I went to day camp. So I'd imagine it's a lot like sleepaway camp. After the breakouts, then I met my they gave me a buddy. They gave me a person. I was their buddy. We're each other's buddy. Nice guy, good head and shoulders, from Maine. He came in with a good attitude, and he came in with a sister, which I really like. I'm really envious of all the brothers and sisters that are here. There's actually some triplets. Not triplets, I shouldn't have said that. They're like 3. 3 of these, 3 of those, 2 of these, 2 of those. So there's a lot of that going on in here, and they all seem to get along quite well. And they all seem to be very happy to be with each other. They all seem to be spending time with each other, which is fantastic. My sister's here. I've seen her twice. It was like, hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? And that's it. So, what can I say? That's where we're at. That's our dynamic. And I've talked about it before on the show, and I laugh. I shouldn't laugh, but I do, because that's how I deal with it. It's like, hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? Okay. I think we've said all we need to say. I guess. I don't know. She knows what I'm doing, and I guess I know what she's doing. I really don't. I'm sure she's here for reasons similar to why I'm here, and I don't know. We'll see what happens. It doesn't really matter. It's all good. I'm fine. And so I talked to my buddy for a while, and I put him at ease, but I didn't need to put him at ease. He was already at ease, and he asked me questions, and I gave him answers. Of course, I gave him answers. I gave him a lot of, long-winded answers, and I try to catch myself and say, hey, man, let him talk. Poor kid. He's from Maine. And so he's here with his sister. And then after that, we had dinner and opening ceremonies. It's very nice. A lot of positive energy, as it should be at these things. I can't imagine that there would ever be a CODA event and there wouldn't be positive energy. How could that possibly ever happen? That would be insane. So, and then, of course, later in the night is the hospital room. For those of you who don't know what the hospital room is, that's where they tell stories. And 2 nights ago was particularly very good stories. Tonight was also very good stories. I didn't hear a lot of them for some reason. And I guess I was just maybe a little bit melancholy or whatever, or tired. And of course, me, when I'm tired, I turn from Dr. Jekyll into Mr. Hyde. And Mr. Hyde likes to screw over Dr. Jekyll. Dr. Jekyll has to go to work early in the morning, and he has to be really bright and sharp. But Mr. Hyde gets tired, and instead of going to sleep, he stays up. There's a certain point in time where, that's where the transition is from Dr. Jekyll. Oh, there's the first one. To Mr. Hyde, and it's no good. But I did it again. I did it tonight. I did it several times tonight. I really should have been in bed 2 hours ago or 3 hours ago, and here because it's 3 o'clock in the morning now, and it'll be 4 o'clock by the time I go to bed. It's really so ridiculous. I should use harsher words like dumb, but on this show I like to use dumb as an affirmative, as a term of endearment. So anyway. So we heard stories, good stories. Some of them are very funny. And tonight they did experimental stories. You know how you watch YouTube and they do bad lip syncing, lip reading. They do bad lip reading. So we did bad signing, which is it's possible that the experiment was that one guy would be in front of the audience and one guy would be in the audience. Translating what the guy on stage is saying, and the guy on stage might be doing British Sign Language, and the guy in the audience might be doing American Sign Language. So, the one guy's telling the story, and the guy interpreting is doing all the talking. So one guy's telling the story with sign language, and the other guy is translating in English or whatever, and it's just doing it poorly because they don't understand each other's sign language. But you go by what little you know, and it turns out a little funny because signs mean different things in different languages. And I'm sure if I had somebody here with me who's an interpreter, they would tell you the funny differences in signs. So, it could really be extreme, that just the slightest sign for something very subtle in another language could mean something totally different. And, as a CODA, you understand. As a non-CODA, you couldn't possibly imagine what that looks like. And I don't have any examples for you, so I'm dropping the ball here. So, but there's different things that some things are so simple and benign or whatever in one language, and in another language it's very sexual. That's basically what I'm alluding to. So there you go. It's like, oh my God, what did he just sign? Oh, I think he just signed that was sweet. And the other guy says, no, he didn't sign that was sweet. He signed that, hey, he's touching me inappropriately, so it's totally opposite. So in a story, if you mix it up, that could be possibly quite comedic. Could be funny. All right, so what else? We did a story time. And what did I do today? Today, I was, I'll tell you about the 3 breakout sessions I did. I'm not going to tell you any great stories because everything's confidentiality, everything's confidential, and I'm not going to blow that. And I love doing these podcasts. I don't love it, but I like doing these podcasts and sharing it with you, especially if you're a CODA. And if you're not a CODA, that's cool too. But if you are, you want to hear what's going on. So I went to 3 breakout sessions today, and the first one was CODA parents of aging parents. Yeah, CODAs of aging parents. So listen, if you're a person of a certain age, it doesn't really matter, even if you're younger, and you got parents that are getting older and sicker and, more worn out and, closer to the end, their expiration date, that in any walk of life, that's a very difficult transition to make. That's a very difficult thing to take care of based on the personalities of the parents and your resources. There's a lot of things that are involved, and a lot of people are affected by your decisions or your lack of decisions, and your people's responses to your decisions. It's really quite a dynamic, quite a thing. So as a CODA, it gets even more complicated because now we're dealing with deaf parents who are often very stubborn or often just different. Everything is different. So they're different because they're deaf, the parents, and we're different because we're children of deaf adults, and we've been through this for so long. It's very exhausting to deal with our deaf parents. They're not, and for those of you who are not CODAs, it's not like they're crazy people. They're not crazy people. Some of them are a little bit off the mark. The seesaw kind of leans in one direction. It's not, not everything is perfectly cut in half. It's touched by an angel, whatever you want to call it. It's all differences. But so we had a really great in-depth conversation, and there was some really talk about creating a little bit of a movement, some sort of fake book group where we would get together and we would invite CODAs from all over the world to discuss our aging parent situations. So there's no confidentiality, and that's a great thing, that a movement can maybe not even a movement, but something. I made a movement about an hour ago, so which is better than last year. If some of you might remember, I got to Canada and I didn't do anything for like 2 days. It was horrible. I was drinking water and everything. I couldn't go to the bathroom. But this year, apparently not so bad in Rhode Island. I'm good with Rhode Island. So anyway, excuse me, holy cow, that's 3 already. I think I did, right? So we talked about that, aging parents. It was very emotional, and it was very sweet, and there was a lot of interesting stories, none of which I can tell you, but all I can tell you is it was pretty heartwarming, and it affected me a lot. A lot of these breakouts affect me. All right, the second one was actually the first one I ever facilitated, other than the newcomer panel, the newcomer breakout. I did a men's only. That was the first one I ever did. It was men's only. And it was good because there's only 5 guys that showed up. So at first it was just me, like right up until the time the men's only group started. And then one young guy showed up, very nice guy. I don't know his name. It doesn't matter. I wouldn't have said it anyway. And then 3 other guys who are CODA veterans, CODA veterans showed up, and we got into a really good conversation. It started off a little slow, and I was like, uh-oh, this is not going well. And then it did go well. It got even deeper. We started talking about, which is somewhat CODA related, but not really to a certain extent. Do I say that a lot? Yeah, I do say that a lot, because I'm always thinking, is it CODA what we're doing, or is sometimes what we do not CODA? Because sometimes it's not CODA. So sometimes it is. We talked about places for men. Like years ago, you had a barber shop. Like in Saugerties, where I live, I would see Joe the Barber. Back in Canarsie, there was a Pepe and Jerry's, 2 Italian guys, Pepe and Jerry. Even before that, my father took me to an Italian barber shop the Italian barber shop, where you get salami. You get salami on a sandwich, and they cut your hair. That's pretty gross. No, these guys inside were Italian. Italian to me, it could have been Greek for all I know. What do I know? It's all Greek to me. So, anyway, we talked about, like, that's where men used to go, and boys, and you'd have man time. You would talk about things, and boys would see barbers being good, serviceable. They would do things. It's a service industry, and they were professional. They were neat and they clean. There was tools. There was combs and those jars of blue fluid, and there was shavers and shaving cream and leather straps that you sharpen your straight edge blade. It was just a lot of professionalism going on there, and a child would pick up on that. I definitely picked up on that. And the floor would be messy with hair. Somebody would sweep it. The glass, the mirrors were clean, and I don't know what the place smelled like, because I don't have a sense of smell, but you know what I'm saying. It's just a way to observe a good male role model, and I thought that was pretty cool. But we're running out of man spaces, and the barbershops have been disappearing, and they've been replaced by other ones that have, they're a little bit more thematic, like Knockouts, I think, in the Albany area. It's kind of like Hooters comes to barbershops. And then the Supercuts, which is a franchise, I think, or a chain, but they're, It's just not the same as going to a real barber and hanging out and talking and all that stuff. Oh, I'm feeling very tired, folks. Very, very tired. I can just feel my eyes and my head. I haven't felt this tired in a long time, especially while doing... I felt this tired, just not while doing a podcast. So I hope I don't yawn anymore. And now that I said the word yawn, I'm probably going to trigger a yawn. And after that, so that was 2 breakout sessions. And then right after the men's only group, I facilitated a group called, what were they called? CODAs as Parents. Wow, that was deep. That was really deep. CODA as parents. We shared some stories about raising our children and our stepchildren and how we were raised and how that affects the way we raise. And holy cow, man, that was emotional. That one got me. That one got me a lot more than the aging parents one did, because it directly affects, me and my son. And it was really emotional. Everybody got emotional in that room. Talking about your kids, you don't want to make a mistake with your kids. You don't want to do wrong by them. You want to do right. And us having growing up as with deaf parents. Let me see what time it is. Oh my God, what time is it? Oh, where's my glasses? So us, seeing, are they on my head? Don't you love when you do that? You're looking around for your glasses and they're on your head. Have I mentioned that before during the podcast? So yeah, so you want to do right by your kids, and being a CODA affects you because you had a certain relationship with your father or your mother, and then it affects you. And here you are now, sometimes repeating the mistakes you made with the ones that your parents made with you. Now you're making it with your kids. So it's very frustrating, and you don't have to be a CODA to have those problems. Like I said, it's not always CODA. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's just humans being, dopey humans, and thinking that these are things we have to do, when in fact you don't have to do them at all. Or you don't have to do them as much, and you don't have to do them as well, and you don't have to do them as often, and all that other stuff. I put my glasses on, that's why. So it sounds like I was away from the phone. So, so that was a very emotional breakout. It was great. And the women, there was 3 men and 12 women, which is usually the case. There's always more women than men, and there's just more women than men in all of CODA, I think. I don't know what the breakdown is. And you could see that in the men's group we only had 5, and it's crazy. The men's group should have had way more. Hold on a second. Oh, I'm gonna blow my nose because I know I'm gonna do a breather here. So that was it. That was my day here. I did 3 breakouts. I facilitated the last 2, and I really enjoyed facilitating. It's a little nerve-wracking. You want people to you want to have a good breakout. There's really not much you can do because you can't give advice. You don't try to steer the conversation in any direction. You just let it go organically, which is the thing I like. I like when things go organically. You don't have to control it, and you're fine with whatever turns out. But you really hope that people have meaningful moments. I personally feel like it reflects on me. I don't know if every facilitator feels that way. Maybe after a couple of years, I'll be like, yeah, big deal, facilitating. Who cares? I go out there, I make my spiel that they write on a script that they give me, and then I just let people be, which is sort of what I think I did. So, I'm getting tired. You remember that tired I used to get, folks, episodes ago, when I would just be lost in my brain. I can't believe I only got a 10-minute drive. All right, let's take a breather. I just blew my nose, so I think it's okay to take a breather. I always get a little not giddy, but a little weird when it's time to take a breather because I'm the one that controls when I do it. Yet, I don't seem to be in control of my respiratory system. It seems to have a weird desire to backfire on me when I do these things. So sometimes I struggle. All right, so for those of you that don't know, I take a breather break. I don't have commercial sponsors. So in lieu of commercial sponsors, I take a breather break. So the breather break is brought to you by Air. Anywhere you are in the world, if there's air and it's clean and it's free, it's for you. Go get it. Go take a breather. Take a break from the day by breathing. All right. Try to live a little bit longer by breathing. All right, here we go. We're going to take 3 deep breaths, 3 in a row. Deeper as we go. You try to get deepest, deepest, and then, hold that breath and try to make it hurt. Expand those lungs. I really have been feeling it a lot. I've been feeling the expansion of my lungs, and I guess that's a good thing, all right? I would think it would be. All right, here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. That was a good one. That was one of my best first ones ever. Now that I've said that, I just feel like my nose, I don't know what I just did. I just felt something weird. Okay, so that was my best first one ever, I think. And did I mention breathe deep, inhale through the nose, and then exhale through the mouth, and you could breathe as loudly as you want. Ready? You want to breathe as loudly so the person next to you can hear it. All right, here we go. Ready? In. Okay. That's 2. How you doing? You're not a little dizzy, are you? You're holding on? Good. One more. Last one. Make a good, real deep in, and then hold it. Make it hurt a little bit, and then exhale. Ready? Go. Okay. Yeah. Didn't hurt as much as I wanted it to. That's a really weird thing to say, don't you think? It didn't hurt as much as I wanted it to, but it hurt enough. Okay, so what else do we have today? Well, let me tell you what happened. A very interesting little thing happened to me. If I remember anything else, I'll mention it. But something just happened to me really on the way out. Yesterday when I came out, I sat down. I shouldn't have sat down. I should have went straight home. And I ended up in a conversation with somebody. The conversation really didn't do nothing for me, but it might have done something for him. I don't know. When people, have a good time and they imbibe, they're not always fully present. You know what I mean? So I don't want to judge. I don't want to say anything bad. I don't know if that guy's ever going to listen to my show, but I don't want him to think I'm thinking poorly of him. But he was in a different state of mind than I was. I was definitely of the clear conscious, or as much as I can be, the clear and conscious state of mind. And he was not as much in the clear and conscious state of mind. He was in a different area, which is fine. I don't judge. Good for him. But, it just made the conversation a little bit, it definitely made it more interesting. I don't think it made it as substantive. And it wasn't based in reality. Then again, what's reality, right? So who am I to judge? But today I walked out and I sat down. There's 2 chairs right in front of the hotel. These 2, wicker chairs with red cushions. And I said, there was a guy sitting on one chair. I said, hey, anybody sitting here? He said, no. So I sat next to him. I mean, not like next to him like at the movies, but, close enough. And I forgot what sparked it, but eventually, now I know what sparked it. There was a CODA who walked by that started talking to him, thinking he was a different CODA. And the guy sitting next to me is not a CODA, and his reaction was quite interesting. So then the one guy, the CODA, who was not the night before, but this tonight, I think he might have been enjoying life a little bit more than he might be able to handle, and he came to realize that this guy who was talking to wasn't a CODA. And so there was an awkward moment there. And here I am in front of the Marriott. I'm just trying to hang out. And so he tried to engage the guy sitting next to me, but this guy that came out of the hotel, this guy, where did he come from? So I'm definitely way too tired. So a guy came out of a cab. That's what he did. He was a CODA, and he started talking to the guy next to me, and it turns out the guy next to me is not a CODA, and the guy who came out of the cab had a hard time grasping why would somebody be sitting in front of the lobby when he's not a CODA. What are you doing here? This is our hotel. I think is the sort of the message that he might have been sending out, or the feelings he might have had. But that's not true. The hotel's for everybody. It's not just for 350 CODAs. All right. So, again, where's my glasses? Why do I keep on wearing glasses and then taking them off? So there's a guy sitting there. I said, hey, do you mind if I sit here? The guy says, fine. I sit there. I'm playing with my phone. I'm not just playing with it. There's things I'm actually doing. I'm trying to be productive, and social media stuff and all that good baloney. And we started talking, and turns out his name is Pau. I can mention his name because he's not a CODA. P.A.U. Pau. That's his name. And he's fascinating. He's an engineer. He's some sort of mechanical engineer, and he's here on a work visa for 90 days. We had a really great conversation about motorcycles, about family, about working, about finances, about Barcelona, about Catalina, I think he called it, and about New York and Kansas and all the places that he's been and all the places that he's going. And it was really a fascinating conversation about life. And it's amazing how I felt like, wow, I could be friends with this guy. If he lived in Saugerties, if I lived in Barcelona, I would totally be friends with Pau. He seems like a really straight up, honest, sincere guy. And I like that. I like that in a human. It doesn't have to be a guy. I like that in a human. If he was a woman, I would have sat next to him and talked to him too. I've talked to women here. I'm good at that here at CODA. I can talk to women at CODA, but out in the real world, it's a little bit different. But so it was fascinating. Pau and I talked about his job and how does he travel and who takes care of things and who feeds them and what's his responsibilities, and just a whole bunch of really basic, general, Merv Griffin type 1 hour and a half interview questions, which is one of my favorite things to do. So it was really great to meet Pau. It's kind of crazy. I did a show last year in Vancouver. I just remember that. Have you met my friend Bob or Pete or Eddie, whatever his name was? I did a show from Vancouver where I met a guy in the pool. I just realized that. And I met a guy at the pool at the hotel, and we had a great conversation. And he turns out he's an Asian. Was it my buddy Ted or my buddy Ed? I think it was my buddy Ed. And he was an Asian guy from Toronto or something like that. And he happened to be in Vancouver. It was pretty fascinating, that I met this guy. So I titled the show, let me introduce you to my friend Ed or Ted. So now let me introduce you to my friend Pau, P.A.U. He's a nice guy, and we had a great conversation. So listen, instead of trying to go long, I'm very tired. I'm very, very tired. Okay, you know what? I'll start driving. I'll drive a little bit. Maybe that'll get my juices up. I got to get out of here because the turtle time security guard in the Fiat. I am not a fan of the Fiat, not at all. It's not I don't like the way it looks. I never seem to think that it's a worthwhile sports car. Sports car? A Fiat? Why, is that what it is? Did I just call it a sports car? I don't think it is a sports car. I think it's like an economy car. Maybe it is a sports car. I don't think so. Oh, they make them in 4 doors. So if you're a 4-door, right, you're automatically not a sports car? How does that work? Anyway, so I just left the parking lot. I'm driving. I'm going to give you a little dumbing it down with Dave drive time. There we go. Hey, you ever heard of prime time? This is drive time. We're in drive time. So Pau was he was awesome to talk to and awesome to hang out with. So that was good, and I wish him I wish him well. That's a pretty gutsy, ballsy thing to do, to to go away from home for 90 days. He's here on a work visa. He's got a Barcelona license or Spain license, whatever, that he's driving cars with. And we had a frank conversation before I left, and he was really okay with it. And I knew he would be because I got a really good vibe from him. He's really a straight-up guy, middle of the road, really easygoing, and he loves life, and he loves a good quality of life, and I bet you he's very good at his job. We were talking about, I asked him about his license. He told me what kind of license he had. I said, listen, man, and this is what I said to him, this guy that I don't even know. I know him for like 10 minutes. I said, be careful out here because, you don't know with the local cops or any cops for that matter. If you get pulled over, it's good that you have a license, but, you could very easily, and he was okay with this. I said, you could very easily pass for about 4 different nationalities. He could totally pass for being, Spain, Spanish from Spain, Barcelonian or whatever. He could actually pass for being a Muslim. Now, I know, is that a racist thing? Not a racist thing. Is that like a ridiculous... What does a Muslim look like, Dave? A lot of different Muslims. Well, a Muslim that you might expect to see on television with a beard, and he had a nice head of hair. No, it was groomed. He was well-groomed. And who does he look like? He looks like a guy in good condition with a beard. It wasn't a scraggly beard. It was a well-groomed beard, but he just could pass. He is a man of a certain colored skin, and he has a certain face, and he could pass for a Muslim who comes from, the Middle East or wherever. I don't know. I shouldn't say wherever they come from. Whatever, I'm assuming that most of you know what I'm talking about. Then he also could look like a Jewish person, that comes from Israel. Once again, he had the beard, he had a certain darkness, certain pigmentation in the skin. It was, not black, but towards the browner side of things. That's fine. Now, listen, I'm just saying. But he also could pass for Italian, and he could also pass for Jewish. There's no doubt about it. Palestinian, I guess. And he said to me, Dave, yeah, absolutely, Mediterranean. Anything Mediterranean I could pass for. So I guess he's either heard it before, or he knows it, he realizes it. That's just the way it is. He's, he could pass for Mediterranean. So, from that area or whatever. So, Pal was great. It was great to hang out. I really enjoyed that. I'm glad he wasn't a freak. I'm glad he wasn't a dum-dum, like a big dummy, a big dope. I'm glad he wasn't racist. Here's something interesting about Pal. Pal's from Spain, but you know what? He doesn't really care for the soccer. I thought that was pretty interesting. Wait a minute. You live in Barcelona, Spain. You have the Barcelona team, and you're not interested in soccer? Isn't that like sacrilegious? Isn't it like the worst thing possible? He says, yeah, but it's okay. My buddies asked me, to watch the game, and we go to a pub, so I'll have a couple of drinks, and it's all good. so he, I guess maybe they think he's there for the soccer, but he's really there just to drink. Anyway. So, I can't tell. We got to be in the 36 minutes or something like that. Is it still recording? Yeah, we're still recording. All right, so anyway, I met a guy named Pal. So last year I did a show. Let me introduce you to my friend Ted or Ed or whatever it was. I don't remember the number of the episode. Probably in its late 40s or early 50s, numbered episode. And if you want to go back and listen to last year's CODA-Haven 2017, go ahead. I haven't even thought about that. All right, so that's it. Tomorrow, I have breakouts. I'm only doing one more breakout, and that's not until Sunday morning, right before we leave. And tomorrow is like a free day. I mean, I got breakouts scheduled, but it's kind of like a free day. In other words, I don't have to worry about anything. I just show up and I share. And then, then there's a talent show tomorrow night. So I got to participate in the talent show. I'm not going to go on stage. I'm not going to perform. I'm just going to help backstage. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm looking forward to it. I'll give you the next report, even though this isn't a report. I'll give you the next report tomorrow, if I get around to it. Episode 90 is in the books. I'm going to say goodbye. And I really appreciate you guys tuning in. So don't forget to tweet me at DumbWithDave, at DUMBDAVE. Tweet me there or email me at dumbingitdownwithdave@yahoo.com. And on the website, when will the website be back? I don't know. Does it really matter? Do you really need the website? Don't forget to go to iTunes, give me a 5-star review, and a 5-star rating and a good review. 2 different things. I appreciate that. It's supposed to help me a big deal and change my life forever. All right? And that's it. Yeah, I'm good. If I forgot, don't worry, I'll listen to this podcast. I'll probably fall asleep listening to it. I'll publish it in the morning, and then I'll mention it tomorrow. All right? So let me see if I can get these G's, the 7 G's, the 7G goodbye in order. I've kind of been screwing it up. All right? Goodbye, good day, good night, good luck, good riddance, good rats, great skills. Take care. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you tuning in. How many is that? Let me do this again. Just one more time. I want to see if I got it right. Goodbye, good day, good night, good luck, good riddance, Godspeed, good rats, and great skills. Yeah, 8. That's a lot. Oh, I just missed my parking spot. Yeah, 8. That's pretty good. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. I appreciate you tuning in. And have a great day. Thanks for listening to Dumbing It Down with Dave, episode 90. Bye.